What is up, guys? It's Kyle Miller with Never Hedge, and I'm bringing you to Torrey Pines South. This is our second installment. It's going to be the back nine. We're going to be starting with the 10th hole here. The 10th hole, as you can see, is a par 4, 416 yards. We have a bunkers here on the left and right side, and if you can see it, we have bunkers here on the right and left side of the green as well. We're going to be using torreypines.com and Google Maps here. Torreypines.com has pretty cool pro tips that they use for like golfers like me and you. It's not necessarily what the pros will do because they hit it a lot farther, but I just thought it was interesting just to see what they had to say. So this is what they had to say for the 10th hole. The best way to start the second nine with a birdie is to hit the left center of the fairway from the tee, then hit a short iron to a sloping green that is guarded by bunkers on the front right and left. Left center gives you the best angle to the green. That brings us to the 11th hole. Over here at the 11th is a par 3 that I would never be able to hit. It's a 221-yard par 3. Club selection is key. No, I don't have a club in the bag to reach it myself, but this par 3 usually plays several yards longer than its yardage. This is going to be a tough one for the pros as well. The winds are going to be tough here, and the greens are extremely sloping. I don't know if we'll be able to see that from Google Maps, but I will attempt it. This is about as far in as we can get, and no, you can't. Google Earth does not get close enough, but you can see the 3 bunkers surrounding it and the slopes around it at least. So if you hit it here, you could roll down. It's a very long hole, very long par 3. I want nothing to do with that one. That brings us to the 12th hole. 12th hole is a long par 4. It's 504 yards. It again has bunkers on both sides and bunkers on both sides of the green. That is a trend here. We talked about it in our last breakdown. TorreyPines.com says the generous fairway invites players to be aggressive off the tee. Anything less than a well-struck drive won't allow this green to be reached in 2, as it's 504 yards. The ideal position for those who miss the green is short, since the green, which runs 35 yards deep, is receptive to uphill shots. It is, for us, it would be hard. For the pros, I think this will be at least a par hole. I don't see many guys bogeying it just because it's relatively straight without as many hazards as we've seen compared to the other holes. The next one, we have the 13th, is a long par 5. It's 540 yards. A new tee has been added back and left, calling for a drive of at least 240 yards to carry the canyon. So the canyon here, as you can see, should players choose to go for the green in 2, they will need to carry the second shot 260 yards, as the green is elevated and protected by bunkers. So this is a very difficult hole. This is where you really see it does favor bombers here. I know they were saying they're incentivizing laying up, but this is a driver's hole. You need to drive here. We're going to need to pick golfers who could drive the golf ball. There's bunkers everywhere, tons of trouble. You're going to need to be close to have a closer second shot, a lower iron. Lower iron, the better, as we all know. That brings us to the 14th hole, which is a par 4, 437 yards. Again, we see the bunkers on both sides, bunkers on the left, canyon in the back. TorreyPines.com with the canyon running all along the left of the fairway, as you can see. Players will be sure to play the ball safely out to the right, probably with a good fairway wood. I'm thinking that the pros are going to still use driver. The most difficult hole location will be back right, but any shot missed along could result in bogey or worse, as there are hazards off the back of the green. And off the back of the green looks terrible. It's the canyon. Don't want to end up back there. I definitely would end up back there if I were playing this hole. So the par 4 15th. Players who shape their shots will not find much room here. Eucalyptus trees protect both sides. This is that narrow fairway, and it's going to be even narrower for this major. The slightly uphill greens slope aggressively from right to left. So this is just going to be a difficult course altogether. Guys are going to have trouble on the greens. They don't always play Poa annua. It's kind of a rarer surface. The Kikuyu grass will throw off a lot of guys. And the tree line fairways here, especially at the 15th, could see guys that try to bomb it actually get in trouble. And that's what we're hoping for. Fuck you, Bryson. The 16th is a par 3. It's, again, a long one, 227 yards. 2 teeing grounds will have dramatic effect on how this hole is played. The shorter tee to the left brings 2 greenside bunkers into play, but players can aim right and ride the prevailing breeze. The front of the green is open from the longer tee, but the wind can complicate the angle. We can see that from back here, the different tee spots. I'm guessing they're going to have the longer one here for the pros. Bunkers all around. You're going to want to hit it to the front of the green here on the par 3, long par 3, 16th. That brings us to the 17th hole. And the 17th hole is a par 4. It's 442 yards. A high draw from the tee will take the fairway bunker on the right, which is 275 yards, to the front of it, out of play. That will leave a middle to short iron approach to an elevated, wide, and severely undulating green protected by 2 bunkers. This is going to be one of the easier holes right here. Most guys will be able to drive that. From there, it leaves a very short shot on the 17th. You're going to need to score here. This is going to be one of the holes where guys are going to need to get their points. And that brings us to the final hole. That brings us to the 18th. And the 18th is a par 5, 570 yards, long as hell. Basically straight, but with a twist in the drive zone on which anything can happen, just as Bruce Devlin, in contention for the 1975 Andy Williams San Diego Open, the Australian took 6 hacks to get his ball out of the water in front of the green on his way to making a 10. The pond is now called Devlin's Billabong. As you can see, the pond is right here, and that will give guys like Molinari flashbacks to hitting it in the water in the Masters, which basically ruined his career. You're going to have to hit it far, but you got to avoid the bunkers. You got to avoid the tree line. But you want to hit it far enough where this pond does not come into play. Guys are probably going to shoot towards the back of the green on this one just because of the water. It is lined with 2 bunkers. This is one of the harder holes on the course. It is a par 5, so guys are going to try to score, but it's a great way to end the day. Like I said, this is going to favor – we're going to need guys who are great with their irons. So I'm thinking guys like Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa. We're going to need guys who could scramble. That makes me think of someone like Patrick Reed. I know he's not the most accurate driver, but you're going to need guys who can play tough courses. And when I think of that, I think of Patrick Reed and I think of Brooks Koepka. They love tough courses. They love the grind. They're all about it. So, yeah, that's the course. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it. Google Maps is a great tool. Google Maps and Google Earth. This is Google Earth. But, yeah, it's a great tool. I recommend you go check it out yourself. As you can zoom in and zoom out on whatever you would like. Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks.